My name is Joel Ndiba Mwaura, a student at Brigham Young University, Idaho. Today, I want to talk about the API. API is an acronym for Application Programming Interface, which is a software intermediary that allows two applications to talk to each other. For example, we have the local storage, which is just but a simple API. We also have IndexedDB, which is an API. For example, if you want to store your data, sensitive data in simple this API, you may compromise your data to attackers. So the best thing to do is save your sensitive data in a more secure API like the IndexedDB. It is an API that lets you work with a database, SQL object store in the browser. Now, in case of offline data, you're gonna use IndexedDB and Kite in conjunction with Catch API, which is part of the service worker. Do not store session information like JSON or tokens in local storage. Note, it may open you up to an extremely wide array of attackers that could absolutely cripple the user. We have many kinds of APIs, and we are going to see the kinds and know and then verify on which kind you may need to use, or where to apply it, or where, when, and what to do about the API that you want. For example, we have the web APIs, we have the JavaScript API, we have the sensor APIs, we have the introduction to web APIs, we have the client-side web APIs, we have the video and audio APIs, we have autoplay guide for media and web audio APIs, third-party APIs, browser support for JavaScript APIs, guide to web APIs. Now, for example, if we may go and look in the MDN web docs, we have the web APIs here with us. So when writing code for the web, there are a large number of web APIs available. So you see large numbers of APIs available. And below we are going to see this list starting from A to Z. So, for example, in category B, we have the background fetch API, background tasks, and now here you have the background detection APIs, battery APIs, Bluetooth API, broadcast channel API. For example, in C, we have the CSS font loading API, and also we have CSS painting API. If we're gonna look at the CSS font loading API here, we should know what it is and what it does. So we can see the CSS font loading API provides event and interface for dynamically loading font resources. Here we can see interfaces: the font face set, the font face set load event. We go on and see its browser compatibility. Again, if not that, we can go back and take another category. For example, the fetch API. Now, the fetch API provides an interface for fetching resources, including across the network. It will seem familiar to anyone who has used XML/THF TP request, but the new API provides a more powerful and flexible features. So, concept and usage we can see here in the fetch is that we have request and response. And if we go further, we have the fetch method or the fetch command. And then interface, especially the interface, they are of two kinds. We have the window and we have the worker global scope. Now, the fetch method takes one mandatory argument, the path to the source you want to fetch. It returns a promise that resolves to the response. As soon as the server responds with the headers, even if the server response is an HTTP error status, you can also optionally pass in an init option object as the second argument. So now, once response is retrieved, there are a number of methods available to define what the body content is and how it should be handled. So this is basically about the fetch HDI. Now, for example, the difference from jQuery. The fetch specification differs from jQuery.ajax method in three many ways. One, won't reject on HTTP error status. Two, won't send cross origin cookies. And now, here you can see now. Then aborting fetch. Here we can see that aborting controller and abort signal. So, fetch interface. The fetch method is used as a fetch resource. The headers represent response. Request headers allowing you to query them and take different action depending on the result. Request represent a resource request. Response, here we have represent response to a request. So that is basically what we ought to know about the fetch API. We may go further and further, but the most important thing is to know the kind of API that you want in respect to what you are going to do in your web or in your project. And so you have to learn more details from the MDN web doc, be guided to how you will apply it and come out with a good work in your project or any other work that you want to do in your code that you are developing. So with this, I won't say much, but I know that it is useful and I love this work of designing and that we have a good support with this MDN web docs. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, and thank you for also being an enthusiastic people like I am in the world of programming and web designing.